Every time I go to the bank, I always ask for pennies. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. When I do, it's not very often that one of them is going to come in a collector's coin tube, and even less one that's going to have a 1918 ender. You're watching CAD Roll Hunter. We're going to get into this. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel, CAD Roll Hunter. I went to the bank and the teller told me that they had pennies at one of the other branches. This was actually almost 2 weeks ago and I just hadn't been out there. I went there yesterday and when I asked if they still had the pennies that I'd heard they had, they did. And am I ever glad they still had them? Because this is all I got. This bundle here and 4 more full rolls and partial roll. So I paid 50 cents per roll, so just a penny a piece. But one of the rolls I'm very interested in was in this old Whitman nickel tube. It has a 1918 wheat cent ender. Wow. And the other side, you can't really see it easily in the camera, is also a wheat cent ender, and it looks to be full of copper. So I don't know if any of these rolls were related in any way to this deposit that somebody made in this coin tube, but I'm going to start with this one because I think this one, there's a possibility we might have somebody's collection of wheat cents. We won't know until we get in. It's taped up and probably so that the lid wouldn't fall off. These old tubes don't really hold together too well. And it's a nickel tube. It's not a penny tube, but we're going to get in and see what's in here. I'm super excited. I'm crossing my fingers that this is a whole tube of wheat cents. I've got the tape off and you can see why they put the tape on. This is just one of those ones that just slides off. The newer ones, still the old vintage ones, would actually screw in to hold on. But this one just slides on and off. And there is our 1918 wheat cent ender. I'm going to just try to get all of these out of here. And then we'll get a chance to look together. But that looks all coppery to me. Get them all out of there. I'll try to just sort of, yeah, the next one looks pretty old and is also a US. Flip these over. Oh my goodness, I think we are going to find exactly what I was hoping. That next one there is a 1939. And we'll first take a look at this 1918. I'll put this under the scope. We'll get a look at it. It's got some kind of a patina to it. But that is a very old wheat cent. There it is under the scope. It's got some corrosion for sure, but that's a 1918 Philadelphia wheat cent. Just crazy. And I'll flip it over and we'll get a chance to look at the other side here. Yep, it's showing its age, absolutely. But it's not very often you get a chance to pick up from the bank a coin that is 106 years old. Just incredible. So here's that second one in 1939. I'm still not exactly sure what we're dealing with here, but the first 2 coins are old and that next one looks really old. I think this might be awesome. I got out my United States Red book. This is the 2022 edition. So I can keep an eye open for what the key dates are because I'm not quite as familiar, but definitely some of the older ones for sure. The 1922, the 1931S, those are the ones I'm familiar with. There's a couple more here, 1926S, 1924D. So I don't know if we're going to find any of those in here necessarily. If we do, that's going to be incredible, but we're going to get looking. We may as well take a look together at this next one. And that is, I think that's a 1909, and we better take a close look at that just to be sure. Wow, that's a 1909 Philadelphia. Pretty slick, pretty worn. The only thing we need to know, of course, is it the VDB or not? I have a beautiful 1909 VDB I got in a trade with Nicole. What I don't have is the 1909 without the VDB. Flip it over. And this is not the VDB. This is one that I need for my own collection, which is wicked. Are these all going to be super old coins? It's a 1938. That one's in pretty nice looking shape. It's almost got a little bit of a wood grain look to it. Again, some of these are looking pretty slick. That is a 1950 Denver. And they're not all going to be wheat cents, because take a look at this next one. This is just a Lincoln Memorial cent. What year is that going to be? It's a first year, 1959 Denver. This is a year that a lot of collectors would have held on to their Lincoln cents back in the day. The first year the design changed. So this might be somebody's collection from way back. And the next one here is another 1909. And I don't see the VDB on this one either. Now, wouldn't it be incredible if we got a 1909 SVDB? That would be pretty spectacular. I just pulled out a couple common ones from the 40s and 50s, but now another one, 1917 Philadelphia. Here's a 1918. I figure what I'll do is I'll pull you in anytime we get an oldie, anything from the 40s and 50s, I'll just go through, but we're finding tons of old wheat cents. This is just awesome. The very next coin is another 1918. And just look at some of these coins. They just have the look of being really old wheat cents with some kind of, just obviously circulation wear and some kind of debris. This one is another oldie. This is in the teens. This is a 1919 San Francisco. Wow. Very next coin is a 1919 Philadelphia. It's a pretty common one, but it is also almost 105 years old. Just crazy, especially here in Canada, to find so many old wheat cents just like this. Just incredible. I pulled the next two under the scope here. There's a 1917 Denver, and right beside it here in the roll was a 1917 San Francisco. I'll have to look in my album to see if I have any of these, but I have a feeling we're going to fill some holes in my own collection from this little collection dump here. So not only is this somebody's collection dump of wheat cents, it's actually their collection dump of old wheat cents. Everything we have found, with the exception of just maybe 4 or 5 coins so far, has been in the teens, the 20s, or the 30s. This 25 is a common wheat cent, but I think this might be the find of the entire roll so far, barring a crazy find in the rest of the ones that we have here. Because check this out. This is 1925 from Philadelphia. If I pull it down here, this is a clipped planchet. That does not appear to be post-mint damage. This is a clipped planchet. You can tell that because of the way the rim sort of curves out like this. If we were to look, we might actually see that it probably bows out a little bit on the opposite end here. I'm going to flip it over. We'll look at the other side of it. That is incredible. I've never found a clipped planchet until today. And in a 100-year-old penny, that is just insane. And here is a look at that in hand. Wow, 1925, a 99-year-old penny, and a clipped planchet mint error to boot. That one is incredibly cool. Very next coin, a second year Lincoln 1910. Probably about halfway through, there's a 1920. The next one here is another 1918. I think that might be the third 1918 in here. And then next up, that's going to be a 1952 Denver. We found very few in the 40s and 50s and lots in the teens. Here's another one that looks pretty old and worn. And that one is a 1919 Philadelphia. A little bit of rim damage at the top there. Very next coin, it's another 1910 Philadelphia. And right behind it is one that is so slick, I don't even know if I can see the date. That could be a 14. I'll put that under the scope just to get a look. It's pretty slick. Pretty slick, but that is definitely 1914. There's no mint mark on that. Yeah, you can see it is definitely showing its age. Even in a G4 condition in this particular red book, 1914 Philadelphia is listed at an 85-cent coin. This might be a little bit less than a G4, but just tells you that paying 50 cents for this entire roll was the bargain of the century, and we haven't even gone through it yet to see what else is in here. Well, I just wanted to take a moment while we're looking through that awesome roll of what appears to be all wheat cents, because I just checked the mail and I got a package from fellow YouTuber NumisCanada with Bruce. He's in the Ottawa area, the National Capital Region. He recently went and visited the Royal Canadian Mint and picked up, part of their coin exchange program, some brand new 2023 circulating coins, all with King Charles the Third, and you can see King Charles here. Now, so far, I've only found the nickel and the toonie, but I haven't got the dime, the loonie, or the quarter. At least I hadn't until right now. This is awesome. So if you're not familiar with the Royal Canadian Mint's coin exchange program, they essentially allow you to come. It's a scheduled event. It's at the Mint, and they've held them in other places around Canada too, where you can exchange your pocket change for a set of the brand new uncirculated coinage. In past years, they've done commemorative toonies and loonies and that sort of thing. This year, they did it with a full set of the King Charles III coinage. And you can see Bruce took them out of the little envelope that the Mint put them in. They would have rattled around in here. He's separated them out here. And he sent me a little bonus. Looks like a little stack of almost like cardstock. These will be great in my albums to label spots that need to be filled with coins that I'm looking for. So that's really cool. Thank you so much to NumisCanada with Bruce. I'll link to his channel up here and down below. So go and check him out. He does great videos. A lot of what he does looks at Royal Canadian Mint products, which I think you might enjoy. So check him out. Thanks, Bruce. Really appreciate it. Let's get back to the hunt. All right, next up we got a 1927. Followed by a really common 1944. And then this guy here looks like it's been cleaned or polished. Looks like it's a 1948. And I don't know what's going on with that one. It looks to be in good condition, but I wonder if somebody has tried to clean that. It's got all sorts of spots on it, but all the detail is there. And here is another really slick cent. I believe that's a 1916, and just look at that planchet. It's got some really odd coloring on it. We'll just take a peek at that to see if that is in fact a 16. And it is a 1916 Philadelphia. Here's another one with a mint mark. This one, a 1937 out of San Francisco. Again, pretty circulated for a pretty old coin, but may very well fill a hole in my collection. We'll have to see. My wheat cent collection has gotten considerably better recently, but there are still some holes in the album that we might fill today. The next one is a 1917. There's a pretty valuable doubled die obverse in here. I'm not familiar with it, but looking at the date, I thought that 7 looked pretty fat, and I'd probably best take a look. I pulled up the Variety Vista website to see the markers, and I don't think we've got it. I can't see any of the doubling on this coin that we would see in the legend. Like you can see the "we." That's a pretty circulated coin, but particularly in the date, looking at the 9 in the date, there's like pretty evident notching that we would see here. That we don't see on this coin. Even in this condition, it should be pretty evident. The 7 does look a bit fatter in here, and ours does have that, but because it's all the way down here, I think this has just been smushed after years of circulation. It's just post-mint damage. Here's a 1929. That is not a mint mark by the tail of the first 9. That's just a little bit of environmental damage, I suppose. Next up is a circulated 1925. This next one has the look of something that could be, well, I don't know, it's hard to judge. But it's another 1925. Oh, 35, a 1935. Sweet. Next one up is a 1938. And we've got like 6 or 7 coins to go. The fun's going to end soon. This one here, if I can get it to focus, a 1926 Philadelphia. Just had a couple from the 50s. This one's a 1918 with some kind of, I don't think it's damage. I think it's just some kind of crud or something that's on it. I wonder if that's something I could get off there. However, it could have been on there for a very long time. It's very possible that if I get that off of there, it's going to be very discolored under there. But that can't be any worse than what we've got right here. And there's just a few left here, so we'll see if we can look at these all together here. So this one here is a 1927, followed by a pretty slick one, a 1915, and then our very last one, a 1930. Pretty nice looking 1930 as well. Well, I've got them all over the board here as I've looked through them. So what I'm going to do is just lay them out by year. We got tons in the teens. We got a bunch in the 20s and 30s. We'll see what we ended up with because we got a pretty awesome run all in this tube that I paid 50 cents for at the bank. I'm glad that I was still there when I went back. I didn't miss out where either they would have sent it back to the mint to be destroyed, because that's where all these pennies are bound to go, or they would have given it out to somebody else. I'm glad I was there. So that tube of coins was incredible. There were actually 51 pennies in there. 49 of them were Lincoln wheat cents, and just a couple were Lincoln Memorial cents, a 1961 Denver and a 1975. And I don't know why they were in there. I'll take a closer look and see if there's anything special about them. But we also got a handful here from the 40s and a handful from the 50s. But everything else in here was just wild. From the 30s, we got 6. We got a 1930, a 1935, a 1937 San Francisco, a couple of 38s, and a 39. From the 20s, we got a 1920, a 1925. That's the clipped planchet. We'll come back to that. That's probably the find of the entire thing. 26, a couple of 27s, and a 29. And then we got 21 from the teens. 2 1909s. Neither of them have the VDB. 2 1910s. We've got 1914, a couple 15s, 16, and 17. We got a couple 17 Philadelphias. We got the Denver and the San Francisco. So we got all 3 from 1917. A whole stack of 1918s. A couple 1919s from Philadelphia and 1 from San Francisco. That was absolutely wild. I had a look at the rest of these pennies that came in the bundle, and they all just look like normal pennies from the bank. So we're not going to go through those today. We just spent a lot of time looking through these. What I want to do is see if any of these are going to fill a hole in my Lincoln Wheat Cent album. So we'll take a peek and see if I manage to fill a slot. I'm pretty sure this one is going to. Maybe there's 1 or 2 more. We'll see. Well, I opened up my Lincoln Wheat Cent album to find that I do have the 1909 without the VDB. For whatever reason, I thought I didn't. And it turns out I'm not going to fill any spots in here because I have at least one of every coin that we got in this tube. That's unfortunate. I mean, I'm not upset certainly getting a whole tube of wheat cents. There are, I think, perhaps some upgraders. You can see this 1917S here is really, really slick. And the one that we got here is got a lot more detail. It's really nice. So I'm going to slot that in. I'll take a closer look to see if any of these other ones might upgrade. My Lincoln Wheat Cent album is looking pretty good. So I did manage to upgrade a few coins. This 1918 was in that album, and look at how bad this one was. Pretty awful. And we had a stack of 6 to choose from, so I picked the best one and put that in there. So that's fantastic. Once again, I think the wicked awesome find of the hunt was this 1925 clipped planchet, the very first clipped planchet I have ever found, and I think that is a wicked find. Let me know if you've ever found anything quite like this. This is the first time I found one. I haven't found one in Canada, and they're out there for sure, but this is a definitely an unexpected find. This is going to get flipped up. I'll label it so that I know how I found it, when I got it and exactly what it is, so it doesn't get lost in the sea of other wheat scents that I have in my collection here. That is an amazing find. Anytime you can get a full tube of wheat pennies, that's just incredible. It's just almost unheard of here in Canada. It's just a crazy, crazy event. But in any case, I'm really glad that you made it through the video and I was able to share this really cool experience with you. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Coin Roll Hunter, please go ahead and do that. I'd really appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the like button on the video. I'd appreciate that too. Really, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I enjoy sharing with you my little treasure hunts. If you've had a little collection dump like this one in your own travels and coin roll hunting journey, put a comment down below and let us know what you found. What's the craziest thing you've found in a roll of coins? I'd love to hear about it, and I think everybody else who watches these videos would too. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.